What's up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Home on the Range. As you can see very clearly, we were having some slight difficulties with the microphone on the camera for today's episode. So today's episode is going to be a 3-part series of handguns under $400. We're going to start off with 2 handguns today. The next episode will have 2 more, and then we'll go out to a range day. We'll see how they all perform together and how they feel, and we'll give our quick assessment at the end. What we think would be the best one. Obviously, for you it could be something different, but these are all going to be great options. So let's get started. Today we're going to start with a Taurus and a Ruger. So the Taurus is a, what is it, is G2C?
Yep.
Is that the one we got?
Yep.
Okay, so there's two kinds. There's the G2C and the G2S. Don't know exactly what the difference is between them. We just saw the G2C. It seemed like it fit well in your hand and everything, so but before I give you too much information, let's just get into opening it up. Ooh, you can save $30 on a Viridian red laser. Nice, little coupon. Now it's got the little operating manual. Did you say there were specs in this one?
Yep, there's specs in there.
Specs. Let's find them.
A few pages in.
Specs. Okay. All right. So this comes in a 9mm and a 40. The G2S is the same thing. Looks like. Okay. Looks like the G2C, which is the one that we have, has a higher round capacity. Looks like it must be a double stack, and the other one's a single stack. Same barrel length, 3.2 inches. Overall length is 6.2 inches. Overall height is 5 inches. Ooh, the G2S is only 4.8 inches, so it seems a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact for concealed carry. Depends on, it really depends on how good of a shooter you are. If you want to have a double stack or if you want to have a single stack. And how comfortable you are having it stick out just a little bit. So. Let's see, looks like the G2S has the 9mm has a 7+1 magazine, and this one, the G2C, has a 12+1 magazine. So comes with, looks like comes with 2 magazines and yet another lock that I have 800,000 of. Limited lifetime warranty. I actually haven't checked into the warranty on Tauruses, but this being our second Taurus and not firing this, I'm already impressed with this little thing. Again, it feels cheap, but that's okay. It's as long as it functions, that's all that matters. Okay, 2 magazines. Yep, and they're 12+1s. It's not a bad looking little piece. It's got the grips are real nice. They're pretty deep. Here's what I liked about it. It's got an index impression. So when you're coming up to target, it's got a nice index impression. It's got a nice thumb impression. And it's ambidextrous with that. Pop it open. See, kind of sounds a little bit cheap. Sounds a little bit. The slide feels a little bit heavy on top, and the base feels, I don't know, feels like a Glock, honestly, which you all know what my thoughts are on that. So let's start off with trigger pull. Put the magazine back in. I don't know if it fires without it. So obviously we're clear. We just took it out of the box. God, it just, I don't know. So let's see. Oh, there's a lot of play in the trigger. Oh my God, there's a lot of play in the trigger. Wow, okay. All the way back before I get to lockout. That's almost a 3/4 trigger pull before you get to lockout. Okay. Trigger feels okay. Did you say the
5 to 9 pound.
5 to 9 pound trigger? Okay, that actually doesn't feel like a 9-pound trigger. I mean, I'm no scale or anything. So, the sights are actually quite nice. Very visible. Don't know how accurate they are. The top one is adjustable, which is nice. And again, it just, I mean, it's got some girth to it. It's a little bit front heavy, but it's fairly balanced fairly well. Thumb safety, just in case you have a tendency to shoot yourself with a loaded weapon. It's got a nice little laser Picatinny rail on the bottom, laser or light and or both, which is very good, especially if you're using it for only a home defense setup. You know, you wanna blind the perp before you pump rounds in them, I guess. Let's see. Let's try some field stripping here. Looks like it field strips the same way as a garbage Glock. It's kind of super inconvenient how to do this. I tried to teach Carissa how to do it yesterday on something, and it didn't. It was a little complicated because if you don't know how to do it, it's not the easiest way to strip. It really isn't. But it's okay. It's just not my preferred method. So you got to pull this back until you get to a loosening point, and you pull this side and this side both at the same time. You pull them down, and it doesn't do anything. Yeah, well, it has to, okay. You can't have it in fire mode. So just pull the trigger and it releases. So slides off just like any other modular pistol. Pop the spring out of the front. Lift and push it forward to pull out the barrel. And there you go. You've got a simple modular field strip. Now if you want to clean your firearm, this would be your typical everyday cleaning position. After you go out on the range for a few hours, you take it apart, clean it like this, clean your rail, make sure it's make sure it's nice and clean up there, and get your ejectors clean and everything like that. But if you wanted to get into a deep clean, then you would push your firing pin forward, and this little rear stop slides down and out. But you have to be careful because there's a bunch of springs in here, and they'll shoot out, and this will pop out. It's just it's dangerous. Be careful. So, oh, look at that. I just noticed that these sights are actually adjustable left and right as well. I like that. But that also makes me wonder if this is going to be sighted in very well at all from the factory, and or if it's going to if the sights are gonna go off after a while. So I hate to say put Loctite on there, because then you put Loctite on there, and if you don't have them just right, then you're stuck with with whatever sight setup you got. So okay, so that is the G2C. That's it's a pretty simple piece. You know, this is all your firing mechanism here. So that's all your trigger, your stop. Does that one pop out? No, there's pins all in there. Yeah, so you'd have to pop all these pins out to get all this out of here. And again, there's a bunch of springs and stuff in there, so if you did take all that apart, you're going to wrestle that all back together. I wouldn't suggest taking that apart unless you're a gunsmith, or you're like me and you don't care and you break your stuff and you just buy new stuff to replace it. So but you know, just get in there with a Q-tip, you know, pull your trigger back while you're cleaning, try and get in there real nice. I mean, obviously it's still got grit from the test fires and everything on there. We have not fired this. This is actually only the second time that it's been out of the box since we purchased it. We bought it, pulled it out, looked at it to make sure it was good, put it all back. And actually, I didn't test fire this one or anything like that. I didn't pull the trigger in the store to see if it felt like the one that was sitting under glass. So, but let's put it back together. I'll show you how simple that is. It's just as simple as tearing it apart. You just take the barrel, slide it in there, let it drop, slide it back. It'll drop back down in there by itself. Take your spring, big part goes in the front, pop that in there, and then this little groove, it just sits down there in that little groove. Very simple. Then you take your slide and you start back here with it. Slide it back, push it till it stops, and there you go, all back together. So you can't pull these down, or you shouldn't be able to, if the slide isn't pulled back to allow those to come out. Again, pull the trigger, and it comes apart. Simple, easy, done. So compared to, you know, say a SIG P320, which is what I carry, this is much more of a practical size gun for a typical person. You know, Carissa carrying this would hide pretty well. You know, I mean, even if you don't have a holster, just put it.
Don't recommend. Don't recommend that.
Do not recommend doing this. But you know, say if you did have a holster in the front, I mean, it's pretty much gone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little bit there, but
yeah.
Buy a holster. So that's a great way to stick it in there, and oops, pulled the trigger as I was putting it down my pants. Not a good end to the day.
To the life.
Yeah. Well, to the life of something, you little buddies. Okay, so let's move over to the Ruger. Again, that one felt okay. It, field stripped well. Just from initial inspection on this one, I'm a little concerned about the field stripping on this, because field stripping, the way that I look at it, is that you should be able to field strip it without any tools. You should be able to tear it apart and clean it up and, and not have any tools. You okay over there?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one, unfortunately,
didn't have a full spec sheet.
Yeah, there's no spec sheet for it. But this is the EC9S. And let's see what we got here. Oh, look at that. Let's find a home for that. You know what we need? We need a board for all of our gun stickers. We have so many. We'll just put this right next to that for now. Oh yeah, don't look too close at that.
I don't think that was close enough.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people going back up.
Maybe you can put a little edit over, a little box over that or something.
Yeah, maybe.
We don't want to share too soon.
Okay, so from my understanding, this is the field stripping magazine. That's another thing. Let's see what else we got in here. Magazine, lower piece.
Another lock, since we have none of those.
3001. Okay, so again, very small pistol, very short barrel. Let me see if I can show you if the comparison. And lengths makes a difference. This one is much shorter. This one is a single stack, so you can see the thickness difference there. Single stack, double stack, obviously. I like how they've got the pinky drop on there. This feels a lot smaller in your hand because of it being the single stack. Not bad, looks good, feels good in your hand. Not that typically even makes a difference, because some professionals, which I am not, will tell you that it doesn't matter if the gun feels good in your hand. Oh, I can't say that word. If the pew-pew feels good in your hand. It just matters how it functions and, if it does it well. So, I don't know. Personally, if it doesn't feel good in my hand, I'm not going to buy it, just because, maybe I will. A musket, I'm sure, isn't going to feel great in my hand, so whatever. But moving on. Okay. Why it did that, I don't know. Again, thumb safety, just in case you have a tendency to pull a trigger when you're not supposed to. Drawing it from the holster or whatever. Only one magazine? Is there another magazine down in there? Nope. Only one magazine. Okay. That is, that's a little irritating. So, trigger pull. Check it. Make sure it's clear, even though it came out of the box. Okay, that feels like lockout. So there's not much movement there. Maybe it, oh, you know what, won't fire without the magazine in it. Like it. Okay, that's not bad, about halfway before you get to lockout, true lockout. Oh, there's still another half a trigger before you get to fire though. Why are you doing that? Huh. Whew. Okay, that trigger's a lot heavier than this trigger, which, I don't know. Some people like a heavier trigger, some people don't. The sights on this one are not as easy to differentiate, and they're set sights, so you cannot adjust them. So if they're off, you're just SOL. Now here is the portion that I immediately didn't care for. So field stripping.
You have to have that in.
Well,
is that the point of it, I guess?
I think so. I mean, because you can't do anything.
So if you were out on the range, you have to bring that fake magazine with?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to field strip. Here's the problem. Now you not only have to carry this orange little magazine, but you have to carry tools with you. I don't look at that as field stripping. So if you see right here, it's got this little slide lock. You flip that slide lock down and it reveals a little pin. Well, that pin, you can see it from the other side. So now, not only do you have to pull your slide back to meet that pin, but now you have to do it left-handed. And you have to have a tool. Can you see it? I'm trying to show it to you. And okay, nightmare. Okay, there it goes. All right, so now what happens if you lose that pin?
You can't shoot your gun.
Yeah. So, okay. But field strips the same way. Heavy duty spring. Push it forward. It'll pop up. Not sure why the barrel's tapered on the end. Maybe it has something to do with the, I don't know, I'm sure it's just a design thing. So everything's about the same, you know, your ejector there, firing pin back here. You take that off the same way. Looks like there's probably a rod up in here that's going to release this out of here. So you have to push this forward, slide this down and out, take your firing pin and spring out, take this piece out. No, you wouldn't take that piece out first. You'd have to take the rod out of here, and then this piece and this piece will come off. And again, spring underneath here. So
just don't do it.
Just, yeah. If you're gonna get that far into it, be patient, take your time, know what you're doing, have a large space that you can work on it, and have a clear floor, because
those springs fly, and we have spent many times on our hands and knees trying to find springs.
Yeah, and then this carpet is kind of, I mean, it's one color, but it's multi-colored after you vacuum it and everything, and it's not easy to find those little springs. Not easy. So, okay, so as far as I'm concerned, this is not a field strippable gun. That's not how I keep using that word, but it's just not field strippable. If you have to carry tools with you to strip your sidearm, it's not field strip. So, you know, like a 1911, you just, you know, twist the front and pull the pin and twist the front again, slide it all forward, everything pops right out. It's all simple. This is fairly simple. It's not the greatest. It's not the greatest setup. I feel I've never had a firearm with that kind of a release. So I don't know how much it has a chance to fail or not. I mean, if you guys have a Glock or if you have a Taurus that has that same release and you've had it for years and have fired it hundreds of thousands of times, you know, let us know. Let us know how actually how that holds up, because again, I don't know. I'm not an expert on this stuff, so I'm just guessing as we're going along. So let's pop it back together. Again, same way. Drop the barrel in there, slide it back. It'll fall down into place. Again, the large spring goes in the front, and then it just pops down on the barrel. Give it a little push. There you go. This one, oh, you know what I didn't do? We didn't look at the firing mechanism. So this one, look at that. There's barely anything to it. I don't like that that you can't pull the trigger without a magazine in there. Yeah, so you can see the rear of it, but you can't see the front of it. Okay, so what if you're in the middle of a firefight and you got one round and you drop your magazine? Well, now you can't. Now you can't fire. You're just SOL. So 2 cons about this pistol already, and I like Ruger. So now this is going to be the fun part. Let's try and wrestle this pin back in here that I may have just dropped on my carpet 13 times, you know. Pull it back. Okay, maybe it might be tapered. I'm not sure. I can't really tell. Man. Don't like that. Don't like that, Ruger. Fix it. And we're back in operational mode. Alright, well, pros and cons to both.
Do you remember what the cost was on these? I'm trying to see if was the receipt in one of these boxes?
Yeah.
Here, let me look.
This is only for the Ruger. So the Ruger was $267.
Okay.
All in.
So we'll look and see what the Taurus was, if we can, and let you guys know.
Yep. Again, field strip means no tools. At least that's how I look at it.
Look it towards you. So I mean, for being really affordable, they're actually not bad looking funds.
I've already said that word about 13 times, so.
We'll see. I'm kind of interested to see how they shoot. You know, that'll be like the real.
The Ruger being as small as it is, I have a hard time with the little 380s because, you know, my pinky slips off the end of the grip. So it's not as easy to you know, to come up and keep the piece stable when you can't keep your pinky on the whole grip. So try and find something that fits in your hand with this nice little pinky extension on the magazine. It really helps with everything.
Yeah, and seeing most of my hand fits on it.
Yeah, well, your
Because
hands are half the size of mine. So, all right, well, that's going to be it for today's episode. We have 2 more that we're going to show you next week, and we'll do the same thing. We'll show you how they field strip. We'll talk about the triggers and everything. So far, oh man. So far, I think the Taurus won today. However, minus the trigger pull. Much longer trigger pull, shorter trigger pull, and it's actually got more feel to it, but this one feels better in my hand. So, will the Taurus win altogether? We'll see on the next episode of Home on the Range. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see y'all next time.